person. I'm the numbers person.
Yep.
And that definitely, I think that dynamic really helps because he keeps things very level and personal. But I make the negotiations hard
Yep.
so we can fight for our clients.
Yeah, and you need both. Yeah, because if you're too nice, you're not going to get the best deal. If you're too aggressive, you might push somebody away. So the combination of both, it really is an advantage as I see it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know so many agents, so many great agents who build their business off just being nice.
Yeah.
And that is great. But at the end of the day, a lot of clients do want you to fight for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And know that you have the ability to fight.
Yep.
And it, you know, depending on the season and what's happening in the market, you need to know what you can negotiate, what you can't negotiate. And so I feel like we have a really good balance there. And that's why a lot of people trust us.
Yes.
Because they feel like, okay, they're going to look out for my best interest, but I know they can fight for me.
I am here with Valerie Neely. She is the other side, the better half, if you will. Sorry,
yes,
Alan.
I'll be the one to give all the juicy details. So if you want more spicier answers, I will give that.
There you go. Yeah, no holding back for Val. Val's the other half of Team Neely, and I've known Val for just as long as I've known Alan, really. And you've got a unique background coming from the mortgage side of the business before you got into real estate. I think that adds a unique ability for you to serve your clients.
Absolutely.
So why don't we start by diving into like how you got in the business, what you did prior, and kind of how that's helped you get to where you are today.
Right. Okay. Well, I started in banking and finance, just like Alan. And it's funny. So I was actually a teen mom. And Alan adopted my daughter, which is amazing. And so we were a young family and started out that way. But I was very determined to give my daughter a better life. I promised her while she was still in my stomach that she would be without lack, that she would experience a life without my personal shortcomings or educational shortcomings. And so I was a very, very determined mom.
I love that.
So I definitely used that to fuel my career advancement. So when I went in to become a teller at V of A, that's the first thing I told the manager and assistant manager of the branch. I was like, look, I want to be promoted. And that is my goal. So I'm determined to get this job and I want to excel at it.
I love it.
And they hired me. And then it's crazy. In like 6 months, they promoted me.
Wow.
To the next level, which was like between teller and banker.
Yep.
And then in another 6 months, I was offered a position at Wells Fargo as a banker. And I would say only 8 months after, I jumped into mortgage. And how I jumped into mortgage was actually pretty cool. You know, I was doing my best at Wells Fargo. And there were a lot of disagreements I had with how we went about success in the position that I had.
Yep.
Because again, for Al and I, ethics is huge. And I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus right now. Maybe a little later. I'm just kidding.
Well, Wells Fargo went through some, 2008. I worked there too, and they got in trouble for a lot of the practices that we were trained to do.
There's like a documentary on that or what have you.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, it was very much, I thought it was me. I thought I couldn't get the numbers that I wanted because of me. And early on when I was younger, I definitely would give people that benefit of the doubt and kind of be like, okay, I need to readjust, right? But then when I started to figure out, like, you know what? It isn't you. You are working so hard.
Yep.
You're doing everything they're telling you to do, going behind the teller line. You're greeting every single person who's coming in, assessing the value of every single profile. So when I realized it was not me, I was like, I need more. I need something else.
Yeah.
And one thing about younger me was I actually did not care when a job was posted about the requirements that they would list. I'd be like, oh, those are just suggestions, you know? And so, we actually purchased our first home when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
Because a skill set of mine is when I become obsessed with something, I learn everything quickly, right? And so I was like, you know what, Ellen? We could buy a house. And it was 2010, I believe.
Wow.
So great time in the market. And we had the decision between a 5-bedroom mansion in Hemet as a young couple,
Yeah.
or a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo in RSM, right? And, Alan had mentioned faith is a big thing for us. And so the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo in RSM was closer to our church. And so we were like, you know what? We're going to go with a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo. And so it was 19 when we purchased that home. Best experience. Learned so much about the home buying process as a home buyer, but wish I knew had so much more. But because of that experience, as I was exploring options as a banker at Wells Fargo, I was like, you know what? I think I'd like to try mortgage because that's associated with real estate.
Right.
But I was like, I have absolutely no experience whatsoever. But being the bold person that I am, I was like, okay, well, who can I talk to? So I looked up the number of the regional manager of mortgage in Wells Fargo, and I was like, I'm gonna ask him. He'll probably know.
Yep.
Right. And so I did. I called him, and surprisingly, he picked up. And I said, hi, I'm Valerie. I'm a banker at the Crown Valley and Greenfield branch. I want to get into mortgage. How do I do that? And he actually connected me with one of his newest managers at the Wells Fargo in Mission Viejo.
Wow.
And so she set up a meeting with me, and
asking you shall receive.
Yes. And that was a big thing too. Again, with faith, I was like, I don't have the connections, but God does. Okay, cool, sweet. I'll just go down that route. And then so I met with her, and she's like, you know what? I see the potential in you, but I don't have any positions open right now. Here's a level entry position that you could look for, and if it opens up, apply for it. Now, this is 2010. This is during a time when a lot of positions in mortgage were being let go. And the demand for each, if you did not have a history in mortgage, it was probably not likely you were going to get a job in mortgage. A lot of processors were looking for jobs, underwriters. And so they were jumping on whatever available positions were opening up. And I'll never forget, a week and a half later, she called me and she said, hey, the girl that was supposed to be hired for the entry-level position that Wells Fargo is creating, she decided not to accept.
Wow.
Which is huge during that time, And so she asked if I wanted the job. And so she hired me at this, it wasn't necessarily a processor. Essentially, I was a glorified file checker.
Yeah, got it. Yep.
And but I took that so seriously. And I remember taking conditions home to remember, understand, and learn what underwriting conditions were. Because again, I had no education whatsoever. And so I did whatever I could do to learn and soak in as much as I could. And then I became a junior loan officer, learned a bit there, but then realized, you know what, I need to learn even more. And so that was kind of my path into doc drawing and funding for Orange County's credit union. And then I had so much experience within processing after that. And then eventually back to becoming a loan officer before joining Alan. So I love that experience because I was with so many different companies, and that definitely helps me in the position that I have right now. I think a big thing that agents, a lot of agents have, is not understanding the loan officer side of things. Because that having an understanding of your guys' process is huge, because then you can communicate things better to the other side when you're trying to either, if you need more time, or let's say we're coming across some kind of hiccup in the loan process, being able to communicate what that is and having an understanding of that definitely helps. Not just for my buyers, but for my sellers. Because if I'm representing my sellers and there's an issue with lending for those buyers, I can go in and ask, what's the issue?
And you probably understand it.
And I understand, and I can understand how much time is practical for that type of, situation. And not only that, I know so many different lenders where, hey, if that buyer's having an issue, I can be like, hey, can you reach out to my lender and be like, talk to them. They may be able to save the deal, and we've talked several times about you guys saving deals and what that looks like. And and the reason why you can is because of how much you guys know too.
Sure.
But I feel like some agents don't know that and don't know that the deal can be saved in the middle of a transaction. They kind of just let it go. So having that background and knowledge in mortgage has helped just give that transparency that everybody needs when things can get difficult in a transaction.
Yeah, it's huge. So what year did you end up joining Alan?
Oh,
Do you remember?
I don't remember. I'm gonna
Or do you know when you got
say,
licensed as an agent?
no, I don't remember.
That's okay.
I'm gonna say it's like been 9 years.
Nice.
It's been about 9 years since I got licensed. So yeah, I was backseat driving while he was a real estate agent when I was still in mortgage.
Yep.
I was telling him how to
Yeah.
oh, this is what you need to tell them, right? And he was like, you know what, why don't you just join me?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I should, but that was scary.
Sure, that's a big leap of faith.
Because we're both now independent contractors and 1099 employees, and that as one household, that's really scary to go into.
Did you have 2 kids at the time?
2 kids and very young.
Yeah.
Very, very young. I think Leilani was maybe like 8 and Ethan 6, so very, very young.
Yeah, in the thick of it.
Yes.
Yes.
But it was definitely a leap of faith that we both knew we wanted to take, and we work so well together. Like I know a lot of people cannot work with their spouses, but it just works for us.
You guys complement each other well. I really think, your attributes are different and what you bring to the table is different.
Oh, yeah.
But I think together it's really, really strong.
Oh, yeah.
And so I definitely see the value of having you both together in the business.
Absolutely.
It's good.
Yeah, I love, how level-headed Alan is and just how he approaches things and relationships with people. I'm definitely more of the hardball. It's funny, I'm really goofy outside of real estate, but inside of real estate, when I'm working, I'm the hardball person. I'm the numbers person. And that definitely, I think that dynamic really helps because he keeps things very level and personal, but I make the negotiations hard so we can fight for our clients.
Yeah, and you need both. Yeah, because if you're too nice, you're not going to get the best deal. If you're too aggressive, you might push somebody away. So the combination of both, it really is an advantage as I see it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know so many agents, so many great agents who build their business off just being nice.
Yeah.
And that is great. But at the end of the day, a lot of clients do want you to fight for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And know that you have the ability to fight.
Yep.
And, depending on the season and what's happening in the market, you need to know what you can negotiate, what you can't negotiate. And so I feel like we have a really good balance there. And that's why a lot of people trust us.
Yes.
Because they feel like, okay, they're going to look out for my best interest, but I know they can fight for me.
Totally. So what's your main role on the team, Val?
Yeah. So a lot of what I do is the systems when we're in escrow and then also marketing. So I do a lot of the marketing aspect of our team and then, fine tuning the negotiation portions.
Yep.
Alan is definitely at the forefront because how he communicates with our clients' needs is so good. And then I definitely take care of the escrow process, inspections, all that kind of stuff, just to make sure we're on track.
Yeah, you're very organized.
Very organized.
My team loves working with you guys because your opening email when you get a new contract is like the most organized. Everything's in a nice one PDF, all put together, organized nicely.
Exactly.
And we know where to find everything. It's just super easy to get things going with you guys. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I do that with my clients as well on their side. And that for all parties, actually, even escrow, I try to make everyone's job as easy as possible because usually if we're trying to be competitive, the timeframes are short. And so having to organize everything, all the little tiny pieces, I just want to ensure that there's no hiccups, that everyone has the information that they need for things to run smoothly. And then same thing for sellers. Oh, that's probably another big thing that I do. For sellers, I actually stage because I have a background in interior design also. And so marketability, our job for sellers is ensuring that, hey, we are marketing their property to its best, at with all emphasizing all the greatest benefits of the property.
Yep.
And so I scrutinize how everything looks. I found the best photographers and videographers. Before, I used to be so nitpicky about that stuff because sometimes they wouldn't edit videos. So I'm like, oh, that transition was horrible.
Yep.
But it's even fine tuning that stuff, because to me, it's so important that the sellers are entrusting me with marketing it.
Yep.
And I absolutely love their reactions after I stage
So fun.
their properties. They're like, why didn't I do that before? And I'm like, because it's not practical living like this. So you have 2 kids. How are you going to, have nothing, right? Because I'm supposed to emphasize the space and make it look marketable. But it's not necessarily, I don't stage for practicality.
No, yeah. Yeah, for day-to-day living.
Exactly.
Yeah, understood.
So a lot of what I do is with that for our sellers too.
Yeah, I love that. What are you seeing personally as the biggest challenge in your business right now?
Yeah, I would say shifting depending on the specific needs of the area that we're focusing in on. And what I mean by that is, if I have a listing or if I have a buyer, the markets can be very different depending on price point, where it is, the number of listings that are in the actual neighborhood itself, and it dictating whether or not it is technically neutral, pushing towards buyers, or if if I'm representing buyers and this house is in this area and it's competitive, but then this house over here, it's not. So we have so much leverage, and getting them to understand that, hey, in this area, in this complex, there's no negotiation. Here, we can negotiate. What do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want a credit?
Yep.
Do you want to buy down your rate? Let's get it for you, right? Do you want closing costs?
Yeah,
sure.
different pockets have different advantages and disadvantages right now in the marketplace.
Exactly.
It's not really steady across the markets.
Exactly. Yeah. So some of the other markets that we've had, you could almost anticipate across the board.
Sure.
Like, okay, we could do multiple. It's going to be multiple. It's going to be competitive here.
Yep.
You're probably not going to get a credit.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Or there's, or we're going to have to increase the price. Or, hey, you have to look at 25 below your actual max.
Yes.
Because
Knowing you're going to have to go over.
Exactly. Yeah. And so in this market, it can be so different, and we have to take a look at so many more details to ensure that we're advising the best. But we also know when, hey, they're saying it's competitive, but I'm like, I don't feel like it is. Calling the bluff on the other side on whether or not it truly is the way it is. And
I don't know how you guys do that, because I've got an example recently where the house was on the market for like 45 days. My buyer comes in, and then all of a sudden the listing agent's got another offer. They really had another offer.
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
do.
it's
And
hard
that's the
to
thing,
know if they're
because
bluffing or not.
That's the case.
Right.
It has been on the market for so long, but all of us, for whatever reason,
2 people happen to make an offer at the same time.
Yes. Or like, we've seen it where it's like 5, and we're like 45 days and you have 5 buyers.
Yeah, what's going on?
But then also sometimes we look back and we're like, okay, did something happen interest rate wise?
Right.
Because that can draw all of these buyers all of a sudden. And then us too, like, we have a good gauge of, because our business is pretty much 50-50, 50% buyers, 50% sellers. And we will have these waves of inquiries and consultations for just buyers or just sellers. And I'm like, okay, I feel that wave. So then I can sense the demand too in just our business.
Sure.
And so I'm like, okay, there was an increase in demand during this time. It kind of matches up, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to, it's hard because we do have to set all our clients up for the various things that can happen in the market, whether they're a seller or a buyer. There's so many things that can happen, which is why for sellers, we emphasize you have to list right.
Yeah.
Because having to remarket can hurt you.
Yeah.
Having to pull it off, redo everything that we said would help.
Yeah.
And then put it back on. You can't buy back those days, and then that's leaving dollars, that you're going to have to cut because of that. So we always try to list right.
Yes.
So that no matter what market we're entering into, you know that everything is immaculate and is tailored to that specific market. And then for buyers, it's educating them. The hardest thing with buyers, I would say, is that a lot, like Alan says this a lot, they think that it's like buying a car. That you see the house that you want on the market and you're like, you know what? I'd like to buy it.
Yep.
But by the time you see it on the market, most of the time, like, it's going to pass you.
Yeah.
If it's a really good one. Because most of the time, buyers get emotional over the really, really good properties. But the thing is, by the time they see it, if it's a really good property, other buyers are ready to go.
Yes.
And they don't realize the process of getting pre-approved and having their income reviewed to ensure that they can make the best decisions.
Yeah.
Or even if they get, pre-approved, if they have not been able to sit down with us on the process and they find something right away, as we start to uncover all the little details, they get overwhelmed.
Yep.
And they're just like, oh, well, that kind of changes things.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm ready. And so oftentimes we're wrangling buyers to try to sit them down so we can go over all the details so that they can be prepared. Because we don't like to do the whole, well, we're going to look at 20 properties.
Yeah.
And then we get all this information like supplemental taxes and all that kind of stuff. If they just send us a bunch of homes to just look at, but we haven't gone over those details, some of those are big bills, and you need to be ready to be able to pay them. And we want to ensure that if you're in contract, all the things that you have to pay, even in the future, right? And it's like, but if you don't want to sit down with us, we can't educate you on that. And then what happens and has happened in the past when we weren't firm on our consultations, because when we were newbies, we're like, oh, okay, you want to go see a house, right? Now we're like, hey, we have to sit down before you see the house because we want you to know all this, because the information we give, it may make or break them wanting to enter into the market or not. But what's so cool is that I think that Al and I are very balanced in, again, giving them all the information, but ensuring that we help them balance out the overall goals, because, especially in markets where, a lot of people are waiting for interest rates to drop. Some buyers do think that that's the best time to come in. But we know through experience of previous markets that it can be a feeding frenzy.
Yes.
And if you do not, if we know their financials because we've taken the time to look at their financials and they do not have room. And if the interest rates drop, we know hey, they might have a bit more purchasing power, but guess what? They don't have a lot of cash on the back end. So then we're going to be beat out on every single offer because you don't have cash. Because in those really competitive markets as a buyer, if you don't, a lot of times if you're too low on the down payment, it's a great product for you. But 9 times out of 10, if there are other offers with higher deposits, they're going to go with those. It's hard.
It's super challenging. I think I speak from personal experience. It's in our nature to think that we can time the market.
Yes.
As human beings, we're like,
Absolutely.
rates are going to drop, I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
Or prices are going to come down, I'm going to wait.
Right.
I did it on the opposite side, and we bought a condo in 2011.
Yeah.
The home was it was a short sale.
Okay.
We bought it for basically nothing, and then in 2 years it skyrocketed the price.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, we should sell, because this is 2013, right?
Yes.
It went from this price to this price. There's no way it's going to keep going higher, right? I thought I could time the market on the sale.
Yes.
Right? Which is same risk. It's just as dumb as thinking I could time the market on the buy.
Totally.
We sold. We had a great profit, don't get me wrong, and it served us well, and it allowed me to get into the real estate business because it provided a cushion to go into a contractor job and not have a paycheck.
Absolutely.
But that home today is worth way more money.
Exactly.
I should have just kept holding on to it and rented it out or leveraged it in a different way. And so, it's not just on the buy side, it's on the sell side too.
Absolutely. And that's something that we educate them on.
Yeah.
We actually go through, and it feels like a lot. We understand. We always ask for forgiveness. Hey, we know that we're going to be educating you on a lot, but it's to ensure that you're making the best decision possible for not just right now, but in the future.
Yep.
So we show the actual historical sales data in Orange County, and it might be in LA County or other counties, but it typically followed the same similar trends.
Yep.
But we look at the like, I think our data is back to, like, I'm gonna say, like 1958.
Oh, wow.
So all the average home sale prices, we have that, and we show them the cycles.
Yep.
And it's like, what is the overall goal here?
Yes.
If it is to build wealth, and then we start talking about, again, we're not CPAs, we're not tax advisors, but capital gains.
Yep.
That is actually something that a lot of agents do not discuss with their clients, and that is a huge deal for me.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of times where you cannot avoid paying unless you're dying.
Yep.
You're dead and you're passing it on to your heirs, right? Or you're 1031 exchanging to a different, investment. If it's an investment property, there's no real way to avoid capital gains. And everyone's always trying to figure out some kind of way. But we're very upfront. We're like, hey, talk to your CPA.
You're going to have a tax bill.
You're going to have a hefty tax bill, especially in our state. There's layers to the tax that you're going to pay. And so, one of the sellers that we were actually speaking to, it's so funny. They always do this, right? They're always like, hi, I remember you guys did real estate. I already talked to an agent. How much do you charge? And we're always like, well, it depends, right? It depends on what you need. And that's kind of our structure. There's so many different structures out there. But we want to assess everything first, right? And after we did our due diligence, we looked at the property. We analyzed what her goal was after, how much of the sales proceeds she needed to make the goal happen. So essentially, she wanted to buy a property elsewhere and then use the remaining to completely landscape and pay some things off. And then we're like, hold on, did anyone talk to you about capital gains? And of course, none of the agents did. And she was going to use every penny. So guess what? She would have used every penny for debt payoff, her dream.
Had no money for taxes.
No money for taxes. So then what's going to happen? She's going to get that tax bill. And there was we calculated it on estimators. Again, we're not CPAs, but an estimate was like about $120,000. And it's like, imagine spending all that money and getting a bill for $120,000.
How would you pay it?
That's awful.
Right.
That would have put her in a horrible situation. So now having that information, she's able to say, you know what? I shouldn't sell it. And I should reanalyze my plans for retirement. Right. So those are hard conversations.
They are, and you're talking yourself out of the sale, quite frankly, right? Like that's money that helps you make a living if you get that sale, and it's not the right thing. The right thing was probably for the client to stay put.
Because I would have felt awful.
Right, of course.
Selling that home.
It doesn't do any
her
good.
Doing her thing, and then being like, well, you should have consulted with a CPA.
Right.
And it's like, to just kind of pawn that off to other people's responsibility when I have a general knowledge of that, like, that's not okay to me.
I find that part challenging in the business, right? It's probably one of my biggest frustrations is, people come at us instead of it's like, what's your fee? It's what's your rate, right?
Yes.
And it's like, look, I get it. The rate is important. And I promise you I wouldn't be in business if my rate wasn't competitive. Like people just wouldn't work with me, right? The market makes us be competitive.
Exactly.
And there's so much else to consider. Like, let's just start with like you said, let's just start with the conversation. I don't even know what you want in it yet. I don't even know if I'm the right fit to help you, to be honest with you. A lot of times I'm not the right fit.
Right.
And I'm okay telling somebody that, as you guys know, I've referred your clients to other loan officers because I'm not the right fit. And there's nothing in it for me. We can't get referral fees like you guys can.
Right.
But it's the right thing to do by the client. But it's funny how they come out of the gate like so hard. It's like, what's your fee? What's your price? It's like,
charge?
Hold on a second. I can save you $100,000 in a tax bill. I promise you, you're not going to be concerned about my fee, right?
Exactly.
So it is. It's funny, but I think we're just conditioned to, obviously, you think that the best deal is the lowest cost or the lowest price.
Exactly.
And that's not always the case.
It is not. And we've had nightmare stories where we refer clients over to you because the process itself, like what clients don't understand is if they don't have a good lending team on that side, that things can go to crap.
Yeah.
Because no two lenders work the same. I trust when you guys give us a pre-approval. Right? I'm like, okay, they did their due diligence. They know the aspects of their lending that may pose challenges, but guess what? We know how to handle that. it's not like that with every lender.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's hard because we did have a client who chose to go with a lender that was giving a really big incentive, like a huge, huge incentive. But come to find out, their process was horrible and we were not getting communication, and they almost ghosted us towards the end of the transaction when we're trying to get answers. And how stressful is that? You as a buyer, you actually put a deposit down on the line. And guess what? What they gave us the go ahead. They said, we're good to remove your loan contingencies and appraisal contingencies. Then boom, silence. No communication. And we're trying to get things done. That is awful. As a buyer. And that is exactly why we stress on, hey, it's not always the dollar amount that you're seeing that they're quoting on this. Like, we need to trust that they know how to do the job. And at the end of the day, like, again, mortgage loan officers, like, you guys are in sales too, right?
Absolutely.
And so some loan officers, if there's no ethics, they're going to sell you all day on it and not have the process that can back it. It's already stressful to go into an escrow process. This is a big transaction. And then if you go into it, you're still working your job as a buyer. And then it's like you have to stop to put out fires because your loan officer is not contacting you. Like, that's a huge thing for me.
Oh, man. That's a big deal for me, too. Like, look, I'm not perfect, and I've certainly made my fair share of errors in 10 years I've been doing this, because there's, guidelines are intense. They're always changing. Things are always moving, and it's easy to miss things. And but one thing I've always promised my agents is I will not disappear on you. Like, if we run into a problem, I'm an adult. I'm going to pick up the phone and call you. And we're going to figure out a solution. And if we can't, you're going to know there's no solution very quickly, right? I don't understand the whole just fall off the face of the earth when something goes sideways.
You know what, too? Like, in that scenario, I feel like they just wanted to tell me what I wanted to hear. Like, yes, you can release loan contingencies.
Right. Instead of being honest, I'm not ready.
Because I would much have I would have rather had them say, hey, we don't have it. And then I'd be like, okay, cool. So I know how to approach this. Maybe buyer, instead of, risking your deposit, let's back out.
Or you would have been able to speak to the listing side and articulate what was going on, and maybe buy another 2 or 3 days to your lender to get what they needed to see if there was a deal there.
So on this one we did. We bought so much time.
Did you?
And then at the end of the day, so crazy experience. I've never had this happen before. So this is one of the more horror stories. We called asking how much longer until loan docs. Because they had issued out a CD. And usually, okay, I'm anticipating maybe, 3 days, whatever, at the most. They said, we don't know. That was the response.
Oh, wow.
I've never had that happen. And so we called management and we said, what's your time frame to get loan docs now that we have the CD? They said, we don't know. We called the regional manager. Like, we found the regional managers, and he said, we don't know.
What?
And I was like, how? Okay. On average, with the files that you have right now in the pipeline, do you know how long it is taking for your current files to get to having your loan drops done? They said, no, we don't. Yes. So then we had to work hard to negotiate a per diem at the very least. Like, hey, can we hold, like, we're almost there. We got the CD. We're just trying to figure out timing on the lender and all that kind of stuff. But that was the first time we had ever experienced a lender not know their timeframes. But again, that speaks to how important it is to have a really good team. Right?
It is.
You have to have a good team up, with us, with you guys. And sometimes on for buyers, we make do with what escrow company we get, because most of the times it's going to be seller's choice. But on the listing side, I need my escrow company to be top notch. I need to make sure my title is top notch because I need to make sure that there aren't going to be hiccups that's on their side of the process that I should have and know prior to listing, right? So
it's fun. I have a funny story, and then we'll get to wrapping it up. But I've noticed lately that I'm getting transaction coordinators on behalf of agents that are babysitting me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm 10 years in the business. I pride myself on doing things the right way, only getting buyers into escrow that can close. And I mean, like, TC asking me if the buyer signed their initial disclosures.
Isn't that crazy?
And I'm like, and at one point I got a little bit frustrated, and I'm a pretty patient guy, and I was just like, hey, I responded, I'm like, are lenders out there that bad that you feel the need to babysit me a lot, like every step of the way? Like, I've been at this for 10 years. I'm a professional. Right. This buyer's going to close. I don't have time. If I've got 10 transactions going or 20 transactions going, I don't have time to respond to an email every step of the way on every transaction, in addition to everything else I'm dealing with on the loan. Right. And so I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was just like, is this necessary that you have to babysit us? And the agent responded like immediately. She's like, I swear to you, it's awful. Like, there are some terrible lenders out there. We have to do this to make sure that you're staying on track. And I'm like, okay, listen, give me some grace. We're way ahead of time. We had an appraisal back in 2 days. Give me the space to do my job. I promise you we're going to close on time. And if I see something come up, I'll let you know. And they backed off a little bit, but it was mind-boggling. Like, I'm like, this is crazy.
Like, so that's another thing on the listing side. We have conversations. That's something that I think is undervalued for sellers. Like, we have full-blown conversations with the agent. We have full-blown conversations with the lender that's representing the buyer for our listing. And the reason why we do that is because we want to know. We want to know how, because they're accused. There are things that the thing we can pick up on if they know what they need to know. Even when we're talking to lenders, we know if this person knows their stuff or not, just from a simple conversation. And so that's why it's important for me as a listing agent that these people pick up their phone. First of all.
Oh, what a concept.
Yeah, what a concept.
That's hard enough in and of itself.
Yeah, like, we need to have these conversations to understand, because that may be what we base our recommendation off to the seller. At the end of the day, it's always the seller's choice. But we're going to say, hey, this person knows their stuff. And then even more so, like, hey, if this is a lender that agent has been working with for a while now, I'm like, okay, they haven't dropped them yet, meaning they probably do a pretty good job. And that's so I can protect my sellers. Totally. Right? And that's just such an important part of our vetting process when we're trying to protect our sellers, because again, some deals sound like great deals. It might look fantastic on paper, but then when I call them, they don't know their client. And that worries me.
For sure.
Right? Like, you don't know your client. You don't know who this is. I've had that happened before.
It's fascinating. It really is. Well, I could sit here all day and talk to you. Is there anything that you would leave the audience with, and where can people reach you guys?
I would just say, that the market is dynamic. It's always changing. What we can do in one market, we can't do in another. And educating yourself and being prepared is probably one of the most important things, whether you're selling a home or buying a home, and analyzing not just the short term, but what the long-term impact is going to be, because does that long-term match what you want overall? Because real estate is a long-term investment. It's not a quick, gain type of investment. And so, just taking the time to sit down and learning, having the desire to learn what will empower you in whatever market it is that you step into. And then as far as contacting us, they can always call Alan's cell phone, not mine. 949-436-1515.
Cool. I'll put your information down below too, and where they can reach you, and tag you guys on social media as well, so people can find you. But thank you both for being here today. Grateful for the partnership and the friendship. Thank you. Let's have a good second half of 2025.
Let's go.
All right.